it in 24 hours or in 5 seconds. There are always new products and new ideas. And the final thing is competition, because businesses in many parts of the world operate, sorry about that. Businesses in many parts of the world operate in a free market. There tends to be competition, right? Somebody else is coming, providing similar service to your customer base. And so you need to find ways to grow your business. One of the ways I like to think about growth is the triple R framework, otherwise called the R framework. And the R framework is not developed by me. I'm not that smart. Developed by a guy called Brian Balfour. And the R framework is basically 6 things that help you think about growth. It's awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. And I'll just take them, one after the other. And so awareness is getting people to know about the product or the service. Acquisition is getting people to sign up or request for the product or the service. Activation is at what points of using this product do I call this person my customer? So am I calling someone a customer when they sign up, when they send money, when they receive money, when they buy something, when they share with their friends, when they send something to somebody, when they send a message, when they connect the app to their phone contacts? At what point am I calling this person a customer? Retention is, it can be many things. It can be acquiring new audiences. It can be getting existing audiences to take advantage of new products and features. It can be revenue, getting existing users to spend more money or improve the product's utility so they can do more things within the product. And the final thing is referral, getting customers or users to talk about this product, their friends, family, colleagues, etc. And growth can be many things. I feel like a lot of people, one of the things that happens when you're learning growth is you can become stuck in a box of what growth means. But growth can be many things. Remember in the beginning, we talked about 4 reasons why companies need to grow. And so from those 4 reasons, growth can literally be anything at all. Anything that is helping companies grow their customers, improve upon a customer experience or the current customer experience, and then expand to serve new customers. And so growth can be building referral systems and leaderboards like a wait list or some type of competition for your users. It can be creating viral content or creating content for SEO when you're thinking of search engines as a distribution platform. It can be PR, so doing something that is so unique that you're telling a unique story in the press or in the media. It can be new product features, right? Building something that is an adjacent feature to a product you have. One of the ideas that comes across in terms of building product features is something called the operating system. So many software companies especially think of things that they're building as operating systems. And so if I was building a personal finance app for people to save money, I should be thinking of the features to build as the personal finance operating system. If I was building something for small businesses, I should be thinking of the small business operating system, which means that all of my features are adjacent to other things that I'm currently doing, but they are helping the user become better in a particular niche or space. And in the examples I just gave, the 2 niches are: 1, personal finance. The second is small businesses. The 5th one can be sales. And this is a lot for companies in the B2B space. And essentially, how do I make sure that I'm talking to the right businesses that need my product? How do I make sure that I'm signing the most important deals and closing those deals? Another thing it can be building APIs. Because we're talking about digital products, one of the things that many companies do is they open specific parts of their software to the public so that the public can build very interesting things on top of it. One of the largest API type of platforms in Nigeria right now are the financial services APIs. So the Paystacks, the Flutterwaves, the Wallet Africas, and co. They build technology that they use in-house, but they also open up certain parts of their technology so that other people can build other things on top of it. So when you're using what's it called? When you're using Piggyvest or Carrywise, you're actually using technology, some technology that Paystack has built, right? Whether it's verifying your BVN, sending money through the platform to a friend, or you're just saving money, or you're even withdrawing money back into your own bank account, right? If you lose me at any point, just let me know and I'll find a way to come back. Growth can also be leveraging existing platform APIs, which is, there's an API that exists, right? There's a technology that exists, and I'm going to use that, introduce it into my product so that I can do certain things, right? So taking another example, maybe I've built some small business app for small businesses to do invoicing and accounting. I can go a step ahead and include Paystack or Flutterwave's API so that those small businesses can begin to pay their staff in an automated manner, just one example. Or they can begin to send money to other businesses that they request products from, another example. It can be optimizing onboarding flows, which is somebody has come into a product. How do I make sure that things are easy for them and they understand how it works before they get to start to use it? It can be email marketing, right? Which is just, I'm sending emails and the emails are so good that everybody's looking forward to my emails and to open my emails. It can be optimizing ad campaigns. So we're trying to acquire customers and we're running campaigns on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on the Google network, on what other networks exist, on TikTok. But we're optimizing these ad campaigns so that they're very efficient and they're very, especially cost efficient, right? Because we're trying to reach a particular goal. They're also helping us to expand our customers to get to a particular goal. Growth can be partnerships, leveraging upon partnerships in an industry that exists so that your product works well, and also so that you can leverage on somebody else's user base or audience. It can be customer support and experience, which is how do we build a better customer experience than anybody else that exists in this industry. It can be better user interface and user experience, right? So you come into an industry and you say, look, all the software in this industry is just crappy. It's really bad. I work in venture capital and all the software is awful. Like, it's annoying to use. I'm not even going to, like, every day I'm like, oh God, what is this again? It's awful, it's clunky, it doesn't work as promised, things get broken all the time, emails don't get sent, SMSs don't get sent. So how can I build a better user experience while building a product in that industry? And one final thing, it can be new country expansion. So I'm in Nigeria and I've grown my business in Nigeria, and I'm now like, I'm the biggest app in this niche in Nigeria. Nobody comes close to me. Every time people think about anytime people think about products in this niche, my product comes top of mind. I've cornered the entire market. How can I expand this business to other countries where this market is also needed? What do I need to do to expand into those countries? What rules do I need to follow? What licenses do I need to get to expand into this country? Who do I have to hire for my business to exist in another country? And so when you think about all of these things that growth can be, you can fit them into the triple R framework, which is it attention? Is it acquisition? Is it activation? Is it, sorry, let's go back because this is a lot. Is it awareness? Is it acquisition? Is it activation? Is it retention? Is it revenue? Is it referral, right? At what stage do all of these things fit in? Another thing to realize is that this framework is inexhaustive. So you're going to get some growth ideas on this list or even off this list that don't necessarily fit into the triple R framework. That's also fine, right? The triple R framework is just a guide of things that you should, I would say you should have, right? So think about it as the principles of growth. Those are 6 things that every business should have figured out how to do, or how their users should do. So we're going to take, somebody has a question here and it says, what kind of software do VCs use? So I'll just answer that before I move on. So VCs use all kinds of software, from software that helps them to compare data they get from different startups that apply to their fund or that pitch their fund. to software that helps them manage cap tables. So if you're a VC, you're investing in a company, you're not the only firm investing. There are other companies as well. Typically, there's software that helps manage those transactions so that they are faster, so that the founder isn't going around begging people to sign documents, that kind of stuff. If you're running a syndicate like we do, there's also software that helps collect money from all around the world into some sort of accounts or a special purpose vehicle, and then help you to deploy that software to the startup and deploy that money to the startup. So there's all types of software. They're very clunky, they're very annoying, and they're very slow. The development teams are typically very slow to implement, right? So I don't know if there's anyone has any questions at this point before I go to the next section, which is a deeper dive into some Nigerian startups and how they have driven growth. So I'll take them one after the other, and hopefully we can cover them all. So are there any questions at this point? No? Okay. You have like 30 seconds to ask your questions, or if there are no questions. All right. So we'll go into Nigerian startups and some of the very interesting growth things they have done, right? I like to talk about PiggyVest send dollar feature. I think it's called the Flex Dollar. And basically what it is a response to is people are investing in Naira on our platform, but the value of the Naira keeps declining every year. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the returns of their Naira investments are poor, if we're being honest. It's like what, 8 or 9% per year. Inflation is double digits. So the returns are poor. And so they created a way by which people could save in dollars. But now they could not only save in dollars. Saving in dollars is great, but like that's a what's the word? That's a retention thing, right? But now you can send dollars to your friend, which is a referral thing. And you can't only send to your friends who use PiggyVest. You can send to your friends who don't use PiggyVest, which then gets them to sign up, right? And that is retentions. So they've solved two problems now. They solved the first problem, which is people are wary of of the Naira investments and of the ROI on Naira investments. And so they're moving to apps that help them save and invest in dollars. But then people also apparently want this fun thing where they can send dollars to their friends. So two problems solved at once. Second example I really like is OPay. And OPay came out of nowhere and spent money on everything that was possible. And so they did the OPay Okada. They had OFood for requesting food. They had OCar or ORide for requesting cars. They had savings and investment things as well in the app. They had savings and investment things as well in the app. They had all kinds of things in the app. What is very interesting about their growth strategies, because they had access to a lot of capital, they could run a lot of experiments. And those experiments, some of them, the government said, no, you can't do this in this country. Others did not work so well. And so because they have access to capital, they're able to quickly learn fast what's working, what's not working, what can we do better, what are we not good at, and move all of that into building an agent network, which is like the killer here. And so I think as of today, they're probably the first they're probably number one and number two in terms of mobile money type of agent networks across Nigeria. And you have to think of that agent network as a distribution network to pilot or to push growth. And what that means is this app, right? And this app lets people send money, receive money, they can invest, they can take loans, they can do all kinds of personal finance things, right? And that market, unfortunately, has become very crowded. So how do you expand your user base beyond the 1 or 2 million people in Nigeria who have a smartphone and have constant internet, right? You go offline. And so what they had done was, or what they've done, or what they're doing even still now, is they have provided a service on the streets in a way that you can walk up to an OPay agent, give them cash, and request for certain things. So they can buy you airtime, they can buy you data, they can send money to your cousin in Calabar. You can send money home for Christmas. You don't have to have a smartphone and an app. And then at the other side of things, when you send money to your cousin in Calabar, there's also another OP agent there who's going to give your cousin cash. Now, remember that most people in Nigeria do not have, if you live in Lagos, this is probably not something you know. Most people in Nigeria do not have smartphones. Most people in Nigeria do not have access to the internet. Most people in Nigeria do not have an ATM, they do not have a bank account. Most people in Nigeria do not have an ATM near them. The ATMs are very far from where they live, if there's even any ATM at all, right? And so OPay expands to solve these people's problem, but it doesn't do it in the way you think they will do, which is more people should download our apps. It's like, no, we're going to build a cash and offline agent network to solve this problem, right? And that was really very great move. I think now they're worth, I don't know, they're worth over $1 billion or something. The next examples I have is Disha and how Disha uses influencer creators. So Disha is an app that lets creators create a, for loss of better words, a website, right? So you create a website on Disha, but what that website helps you do is you can host multiple links or content, and you can also sell products in some version of the product. If you pay the premium fee, I think you can now host products and you can earn money from around the world, depending on the payment platform that you use. One of the interesting things that Disha has done is by building for creators first and by using creators who are influencers on social media, it's able to spread its reach fast, but it's able to quickly decide who its product is for. So Disha's product is not for, I would say, medium or large businesses. No, it's for the small person who's just trying to figure out how to make money online, right? And so they're solving a problem for that person. And they recently got acquired by Flutterwave. So I guess we can say that they are successful in that niche. If you can build something that another company thinks is useful. Another example is SpaceStack's API and its integrations. So I'll tackle two things here. The first is SpaceStack as a service built I don't know if anyone has ever looked at SpaceStack's API page, but they built a ton of utility on top of their own software. So if I'm a developer, I can build something that allows people to send money on top of SpaceStack. I can do BVN verification. I can collect money. I can do a ton of things. But now the second part is where they kicked, a lot of acquisition bots, which is SpaceStack began to build its software and build what they're called software development kits for publicly and popular e-commerce platforms. So there's WooCommerce for WordPress, there's Magento, there's Shopify. Let me just show you some of them. I think I have them here. There's Wix.com, there's Squarespace, PrestaShop, OpenCart, and all of these things are platforms that small businesses use when they're coming online. So when a small business comes online, they're typically thinking, I don't want to build my website from scratch. I want to use some other tool. So SpaceStack took advantage of that by integrating its API with these other tools. Sometimes doing it officially, but other times just leveraging on other people's technology and making sure that it exists, right? To be used by whoever is posting a shop on these websites and wants to collect money. And now they're even doing things like they're expanding to more international payment options. So you can use American Express. Somebody can use American Express on your shopping website. If you're a Nigerian business, people can use Apple Pay. Stuff like that is growth and expansion. So another example is Cowrywise's end of year reports. And so two things I talk about Cowrywise here. The first is the end of year reports, which is at the end of every year, you can go on a Cowrywise website and take a quiz. And that quiz gives you a bunch of results based on your saving habits for the year. And all of these results are like icons, right? They're icons you can share on social media. You also create a unique page. So each of these icons comes with its own page. So if I'm a consistent cougar, there's a page that just says your friend was a consistent cougar and then encourages you to sign up. This tackles the retention thing. So people have to open the app to use it, but it also opens up referrals, right? People have to share this with their with their friends and on their social networks and their social groups. There's one more thing I want to talk about. Okay. I don't have screenshots for all of these things, but I really like how, well, I was working at Bondru Africa. And so before we launched, we had created a referral and waitlist type of structure. A referral and waitlist type of structure, which is basically, we built a very early closed community, right, of people who wanted to use the products. There were about 100 of them. And so they were very involved in deciding certain product features, testing the product, providing feedback, ideating with us on the logo and how the logo looked like, doing all of that, very closed stuff. And you didn't even know about the thing. You couldn't invite your friend. So it was we selected those group of people from a survey we had. And then we turned them to be referrals by creating a referral campaign where we gave them some Naira reward for doing certain things in a short period of time. And that got us to, I think it was just over 10,000 pre-launch waitlist. So we hadn't launched, we hadn't been any announcements, but we had 10,000 people who were waiting to use the products. Another growth case study I like is Abeg and BBN. And it's not just the promotion or the sponsorship of the ads, but in the Abeg app itself, Abeg had embedded social elements from BBN. So you had profiles for all of the housemates. And upon eviction, you could see who was up for eviction. And if your favorite housemate got evicted, you could send them money. I think that was a perfect use case in just showing how people could use the app, but tied it to a promotion they were running. Another thing they also did, and I'm not sure if I'm right here, some of the housemates after Big Brother was over also hosted giveaways on the app, which is perfectly brilliant. You can sponsor the biggest TV show in Africa, but then you can miss out on using it to build user habits for your product. I like Zikoko quizzes. So Zikoko is a media product by a company called Big Cabal Media. And Zikoko quizzes are great. And I'll highlight a couple of things here. The first is that they come on time. So if there's something people are talking about on the Nigerian internet, so to speak, there will be a Zikoko quiz about it. The second is it elicits your emotion. So it can make you feel smart, it can make you feel dumb, it can make you happy. But all these emotions encourage you to share, and then you share it on social media with your friends, which means you're not just using the product and taking more Zikoko quizzes, you're sharing them outside in the public or even in private with other people who will then also come and take Zikoko quizzes, and then people get stuck in a loop and it's going on and on and on and on and on until it peters out. The next is Carry First. I like Carry First. I'm not sure if a lot of people know what Carry First is. So Carry First is this app where you can go and participate in time-based trivia, Nigerian trivia, and you can win gifts, right? But some of the things that Carry First did, even from how it acquired users, was that it focused very heavily on university students. Like those are the people that need money the most in this life. If you've been in university, you know that you're always needing some extra cash to do something, right? And by focusing on that audience, it's able to drive growth and it's also able to drive cheap acquisition. But then people come to the platform and they're taking these time-based quizzes where they can only win certain things if they answer a set of questions within a period of time. But then they also have to be able to share those quizzes with their friends. So essentially, the more people come to take the quiz, the more money that is at stake to be won, which is it's like gambling, right? But it's not gambling because you don't lose any money. You're not paying anything. And the final thing I really like is Kuda's ad campaigns. And I like Kuda's ad campaigns because Kuda basically follows the zeitgeist, which is whatever is trending at the time. We're going to do an ad campaign about it, right? And they've grown to be one of the largest digital banks in Nigeria so fast in how many, I think 3 or 4 years. They're also able to, once again, focus their campaigns on very big budget placements. So they're not just doing like the small thing so they can grow slow. They know they want to grow. I really admire Kuda and Ope's strategy. And the reason is because they know exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to grow fast. They're trying to be the biggest um, product or the biggest company in that space. And they're going all out and doing um, they're doing whatever is necessary to be done to go to that user base, which includes dropping fees in the early days and being a very strong. Those things make you a very strong contender in any space you're at. So we've talked about this. So how to think about growth? I shared the triple R framework earlier on, but there are also questions you can ask yourselves. And what you want to do when you embark on a growth campaign or a growth marketing campaign. These are the questions you can ask yourself. The first thing is, who are my users? And that is, who exactly is the ideal customer? And many people fail to ask themselves this question because they always say, oh, it should be used by everyone. Oh, I think it's everyone. Oh, everyone generally. Or just a general person who's trying to, like, you can't achieve growth with that. You need to narrow down, especially if you're working at, I assume many people here work at startups that don't have all the money in the world. So you need to narrow down your users as much as possible. And your users can be something as simple as 20 to 25 years old. As chief marketing officer at Series A startups in the fintech industry, or chief sales officer at Series B in the fintech industry, or the head of logistics at FMCGs, right? The reason it helps to define this is so that you know exactly how to talk to them, how to reach them, and where to find them. And so the next question to ask yourself is, what are they trying to do? So in their life right now, right? What is important to them, right? So the things that are important to me as a manager in my company are completely different from what is important to somebody who is, I don't know, in NY, who's doing their NYC right now, right? Except like those two things collide at some point. But like people are typically at different parts in their life trying to do different things. And when you start to, the only way you can answer this, what are they trying to do, is to actually talk to your customers. There's no other way. So when you start to talk to your customers and start to see their behavior, they start to tell you things that they want. So something I have hoped that the savings and investment apps in Nigeria would have done for me by now is enable me to take a loan. Because I think of them as personal finance OS, but they're not thinking of themselves as personal finance OS, which is very weird. They're just trying to do one particular thing, and they're very complacent, and they're very happy with the small things that they've achieved. So I think they should start to do more. So what are the users trying to do, right? That's how you come up with new product features. That's how you reach more people. And one example from Future Africa that we realized last year was we had launched a product for people to join us to invest in startups. The check sizes were sort of high. It was minimum $10,000 to invest in any startup that we presented. And then we used a platform that only people that met certain criteria could use, right? And we're getting very good numbers. Our numbers were great. We were only accepting people once a quarter, and we had like 100 people each quarter. So we were fine. The numbers were going good. The startups were getting closed in like hours or sometimes 3 days even, but they were getting closed very fast. We could raise $250,000 for a startup in almost no time. But then we started to talk to our users, and then we started to realize that a ton of people in our user base did not meet that criteria. So it informed us to do two things. The first was it changed the questions we had on our site when people apply to use this product, because they have to apply. The second was we had to go find an alternative fund management partner so that people who live in countries of the world where that is not the US or Canada and wanted to use this product could be able to use this product, which is helping people to invest in African startups. There are tons of people who did not meet that criteria had signed up they could afford to pay the subscription fee, but the platform that the platform partner could not just onboard them to make these investments. And so we had to go find a third party platform that they could use. Another problem that we have noticed recently is many people in that audience do not have access to Forex. So how can we get them access to foreign exchange to then invest in startups? The third thing is, where are they? So this is very geographical, but it can also be specific type of places. So where are they? Geographical is, are they Nigerians? Are they Canadians? Are they in, I don't know. Are they in, if they're Canadians, are they in Ontario? Are they in Toronto? If they are in Nigeria, are they in Lagos? Are they in Ibadan? Are they in are they in Maiduguri? Right. And it can also be specific places. Does this person work from an office in Victoria Island? So are they in KPMG? Are they in PwC? Are they in, I don't know, Access Bank, right? Where is this customer, this ideal customer that you have defined? And then the next step is, how do I make them enjoy using this product? So before we go into the product part of things, one of the things you have to do when you're working in growth is you have to work across multiple different teams. So for example, I work with the design team in our company. I work with the product team. I work with the developers sometimes. I work with the investment team, which is where the deal flow comes from. I work with the investor success team, which is the people that make sure that everybody that uses our platform is happy. And so oftentimes you find that you're solving other people's headaches that they don't even know that they want to solve. So there's always that thing. So how do I make them enjoy using this product? I talked about how software that VCs use is often clunky and very annoying, and there's no proper thought process around it. So if I'm a growth manager, how do I work with the design team to make sure that this product is delightful to use, and people are not having so much stress when they are using this product? And then how do I get them to talk about this product easily to other people? And this is where the referral thing comes in again in the AAA framework. So at what point do I want people to be able to share this product? Also, how do I want them to share this product? And thirdly, am I going to offer any incentives or rewards for them sharing this product? And basically the question to ask yourself here is, what's the customer acquisition cost that you want to set for when you want to incentivize people to share this product? And the way to think about it is this: if I give 1,000 naira, right, for my customer to go bring me another customer, it means that I'm spending 1,000 naira to acquire I'm spending 1,000 naira to acquire each customer. Do I have that kind of money? If this goes to be like 1 million people, do I have 1 billion naira to spend on customer acquisition? All right. So often I share with people and I ask them to set a customer acquisition ceiling, this is the maximum we would typically spend to acquire a customer. So when we're building a referral campaign, that's the maximum amount, right? Another question is, do I even need a referral campaign? Maybe I need people to share things, but I don't need a referral campaign, so to speak. Or maybe people come to use my products, but I can design it in such a way that they're sharing the thing they've created. So maybe they create a store for their business. I can make it easy for them to create a store by creating a shortened URL. That's also referral, right? Although I'm not providing any incentives and rewards. Another thing is, how do I get them to use products with other people, right? So, and this is for people who are building stuff for businesses mostly, but you can think about it in a consumer lens as well, which is, in a business, there are typically multiple people that need access to specific tools or software. So how do I make it easy for teams to collaborate in this software? How do I make sure that if somebody enters maybe bookkeeping software, for example, and enters places an entry, we should be able to see that, oh, it was Dico that placed this entry for this purchase or for this sale. And it wasn't what's the word? It wasn't being paid that entered it. So how do I build those kind of things? How do I make sure that people can invite their teammates easily to tools? So we use Asana for project management and task management. And one of the things that quickly happens is we can invite people in the company to Asana. We can tag them on tasks. We can comment. We can do all kinds of things. And so it enables us bring our team members to work in one place. Sometimes even we spend more time there than even other tools that we have. Right. And another thing that's also important is how often should customers use these products, right? And I think that many people get lost here because they don't realize that a customer is not going to open their app or their service every day to be satisfied. So one example I give here is I use multiple savings and investment apps, right? But I don't open them every day. I only open them at the end of the month when my salary has come. So I can either transfer money there or I can just check on what's happening. There are no apps I open every single day to see, how my money is going, because my money is not growing that fast, to be honest, right? So they're not opening. So if I was a growth manager at a savings product, I would think I should not measure daily active users. Maybe I should measure monthly deposits, right, as a growth metric. Not necessarily people opening the app, but how can I help people use the product without even opening the app? And one way they've all done this is they have automated billing, which is you add your card, you select how much you want to save on the platform. And so without even opening the product, monthly, daily, or weekly, whatever you've set, you're actually using it, right? Without even interacting with it. And that's like a way to think about how often consumers use products. And the final thing here is how do I measure and quantify the above? So when I've defined who are my users, how do I do enough research to say, oh, there are 200,000 people, students or professionals in this space. So I can know that, okay, I'm reaching 100 of them today, and my goal is to reach all 200,000. How do I measure and quantify if I'm helping them do what they are trying to achieve? How do I measure and quantify that they're enjoying this product, right? So is that in terms of how many times they open the app in a day? Is that in terms of the net promoter score? Is that in terms of how they respond to a survey? How am I measuring that? How do I get them to talk about this product? How do I measure that people are talking about this product? Am I measuring how many people talk about the product on Twitter? Am I measuring how many times we get tagged on Instagram? Am I measuring how many people click a share button within the app, right? So how are you going to measure all these things? And what this measurement helps you do is it helps you decide on metrics to track. You can't approach growth in a digital product without having metrics that you're tracking and without optimizing for those metrics within your product itself, but also in your marketing campaigns, right? And so these questions really help to define how you think about growth, but also how you can measure some of this activity. And so we've come to the end of this presentation. I want to open the floor for questions now. I can see some questions coming in. And so I'm going to share this with you. But for further reading, I have some slides. I have some really interesting articles on growth you can read at this URL. I hope that it's still active. Please check it out. If it's not, please let me know. You can also read my blog. I share a lot about growth and things that are just in my head on my blog, digitalmarketer.ng. And you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. My handle is Binjo.
As well as, okay, there's also a question from Damilola from earlier before. Does allowing users personal finance products access loan not defeat the
Okay,
purpose?
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So I will take, let me take the JD question. So it really depends. But typically when somebody is hiring a product marketing manager, they're hiring someone to optimize their already existing marketing campaigns. And optimizing basically means they want more people to see it at lower cost, or they want more people to see it, but at an efficient cost that they have set as a limit or as a margin. And they want that person to be able to manage those campaigns for efficiency, They want that person to come up with new ideas, maybe better copy, better imagery, better imagery, increase conversions on the ads if they've been running ads, maybe increase conversions via emails or whatever content marketing is being done. And so they would not necessarily tally, but it can be like a sub role, if you will. So as growth manager at Future Africa, I also double as a product marketing manager, but there's no product marketing manager that would probably typically double as a growth manager. I hope that helps you differentiate both. So I want to take the loan question. And so the way to think about growing a business's mind share or pie in an industry is that if there's a service that is adjacent to your service, and this is why I said I'm hoping that personal finance products think about themselves as personal finance products, not as savings and investment products. Because saving and investment is only one space in the personal finance operating system, right? Credit is very important for personal finance. And taking a loan does not mean that I'm a bad person. I feel like this is a Nigerian thing. Taking a loan does not mean that I'm in debt or anything, right? But I was just sharing an idea I had with regards to just expanding that pie for products that are already in the personal finance space. They don't necessarily have to do that. And I don't think it's not a bad idea as much as it is. There's another question here about OPE strategy. So I think that OPE has kind of pivoted from that low price strategy and doesn't do that anymore. But instead it's now expanding on financial services using its agent network. Also, another way to think about ridiculously low prices is that somebody is funding it. So venture capitalists are typically funding any products that has low prices. So whether it's sustainable or not depends on whether the company can continue to raise more money. And we've seen companies raise money. Amazon has not turned a profit in a very long time and continues to be able to raise money from the stock market. And so whether it's sustainable or not, we will see as time goes on. Someone is talking about content creation and graphic designing. So content creation, yes. Graphic design, I will say it will depend on the company, maybe how small it is, how large it is. But if you're not very good with graphic design, something you can do is communicate that to your team so they can hire a better graphic designer. Because I won't lie, I'm not so great at graphic design. And so in my career, I've often had or worked with a graphic designer who can design, better banners, better banners and better imagery for brand communication. So that's also something to think about. Okay, I have a question here, and I think I should read it out. It says, on driving activation, how best would a growth marketer make sure that the users get to see that aha moment early enough? And so you need to optimize your onboarding. And again, it depends on the product, right? If you're in a space where people have not used that product before, you want to focus more on education in the very first few months or years of your product. Even in app, you want to focus your onboarding towards education as opposed to somebody doing something in particular, especially because there are a lot of you're not trying to build a new social habit that nobody has done this thing before, right? And you're trying to build a social habit. So you have to be careful, and it's very contextual. But in a space where people are already doing this thing, but you're bringing it online, to get to that aha moment early enough, you have to optimize your onboarding for that activation metric. So at Bundle, for example, our activation metric in the first few months was whether someone deposited cash or crypto, right? Or sent cash or crypto. And so that helped us modify what our first user experience design. The second design that came out was basically helping people deposit cash and crypto as fast as possible, because that was our activation metric. So decide on what your metric is, and then build your user experience and user interface to get the user to do that X thing fast enough. And you also need to know that there are some things that people cannot get that reward immediately, right? So When we started using Asana at Future Africa, we had tried other tools. But one of the things we had learned moving from other tools was that it took us a while to start to see how efficient a project or task management tool was. It wasn't something we could see in a week, right? It's something that we had to keep using for a couple of weeks, and then everybody will say, oh, we're no longer having problems with tasks being submitted on time or knowing who's working on what. There's certain products that just take time for the user to get to that haha moment and then maybe begin to pay for it or share with their friends. I can see some questions here on the slide. I don't know if I'm missing anything in the chat, but if I missed your message, please just post it again. Thank you. Okay, someone says, I can see one as a growth. Okay, how do I engineer virality for education? It's difficult to drive growth for EdTech. I don't want to go about it the wrong way. So I will say focus on two things. So the first is, are you focused on the student part of EdTech or the teacher/school part of EdTech? And so depending on who your product is focused for, you might not need virality. Again, remember that virality is heavily contextual. So if this is a school product, right, that schools use or teachers use, am I making it exciting enough for that when teachers go home to talk to all their friends that are teachers, or when they are on WhatsApp groups or whatever groups that they're talking about this product, which is the first one. The second one is, can I incentivize the teachers? So maybe if a teacher brings on all the other teachers in their school, I can give them maybe not money, maybe I can give them teacher of the week or something. I can make them feel good, right? How can you do those kind of things? What's your advice for the first growth hire in a startup? Yes, I've posted a new link. Please try this new link. Sorry, Topper. Okay, what's your advice for the first growth hire in a startup? What to do when you start and the metrics to track at the beginning? So it depends on your business and what your product does. It depends on what you do. But I would say you want to hire somebody who is kind of already good at what you try to do. So if what you're trying to do is grow your social media numbers, find somebody who can grow those social media numbers. If what you're trying to do is make sure that 200 people fill a form for your product, make sure you can find somebody who can build maybe that community of people, right? And so the metrics you want to track at the beginning can vary from startup to startup. So at Bundle, one of the things we used to track internally was how many people were engaged in our alpha community, because we hadn't even finished building the products, but like we had to optimize for engagement in that community so that people don't forget about us. How were they, engaged? How were they feeling rewarded? We would message them every week, ask different questions, what kind of things we were optimizing for. But in the long run, we had to also like optimize for a wait list, and then from there for an activation metric. So it depends on where you are. So there's a question here about what's the best approach to the activation or launch of a new fintech company that makes payments easy? Can you give more details? What do you mean by making? I thought payments were already easy. So can you please share more? Maybe I can advise you. So what space are you in? What are you trying to do? Maybe I can share some advice. There's another question here about, as a growth manager that works with different people focused on driving signups, how will you advise that I best track each individual contribution? So do you mean multiple people on your team are doing multiple different things? Or do you mean like you have like people who are like sales agents? So if the first is multiple different people on your team, you want to have each person make sure that they are tracking signups with some sort of analytics tool. Google Analytics is good for websites. Firebase, what's this thing called? Segment and Amplitude are great for tracking this kind of marketing activities. So what you typically need to do is make sure that you're making sure that everybody that is doing something in your organization, right? So for example, if somebody's job is writing blog posts, at the end of each blog post, you want to have a unique link that is going maybe to your homepage or to your landing page. And then that blog post, you're tracking certain parameters. So Google something called UTM parameters. You're tracking parameters that you can then see in your website analytics. So social media, you can do the same thing as well. So the social media manager is only posting links that have these parameters that can be tracked in the future. And so how can I position myself for a head of growth and marketing role at an upcoming interview while my core work experience has been in sales and biz dev? So this is going to be very difficult because you don't have that brand or marketing experience. And so I would think that what the interviewer would like to see, since you've already made it to the interview, is they would like to know why you're doing this. And also, how are you learning to transition to this role? So maybe start to take a course, maybe a product marketing course or a brand communications course or a content marketing course. Something that shows that you can mix, the sales and biz dev thing that you have done in the past with the new things that you're going to learn in this position. I think there's a question here. What sort of tagging system to use to track user flow? So if you're doing if you have a web platform, there's Mixpanel, there's Kissmetrics, there's Google Analytics. If it is an app, I like to recommend Firebase and pushing Firebase into segments or amplitude or even both, right? So it's Firebase, segments, amplitude. Those are some of the very good things for, for tracking user flow coming from, your maybe the first page on your website all the way to people taking specific actions. You would have to work with developers though, because each event in the app needs to be properly tracked and tagged with certain elements. If it's not tagged, it can't be reported. And that's something that people often forget to do. So if you're working with a more experienced development team, like I have, one of the things that happens is from the get-go, they're already tagging all of these things in the app. So they're tagging events, they're tagging it, they have a system for tagging events. Somebody enters text in a text field, they're tagging it, and then you can then decide which ones you want to report on in your segment or amplitude. But everything can be tagged with Firebase Analytics for Android and iOS. Mixpanel is great for web apps, but I haven't used it extensively before. So can you make sure that you post all your questions on Slido so everyone can see it on the screen? There's a question here in chat. The best way to conduct market research and software that helps you reach a larger audience at once. Market research, the best way to conduct market research is to just go and ask people questions, to be honest. But you can also rely on publicly available data. So something that we rely on is, and we're very lucky, some of our audience is in the US, and we can find data on, how specific groups of them are earning, what type of income they earn, where they work, what kind of industry they work. In Nigeria, it's probably closed in data companies that carry out this research. So maybe hire somebody to help you conduct this research. Software to reach larger audience than using social channels. Google tools, so Google Ad Networks. You can also use, I think Eskimi can help you manage that. But generally, Google Ad Networks lets you reach people that are not on social channels or not active on social channels, and they have display, they have search. So display is banner ads. They also have YouTube. They have search. I know Spotify does audio ads, but I don't know how that works from Nigeria. Okay. The difference between growth marketing and growth hacking. So I would say that they're used interchangeably, because often the growth marketer is a person who has some level of technical experience, so they can work with product teams. So they're not just doing like ad campaigns. They're also involved in helping product team write templates for certain things, or setting certain automation boundaries. So one example is in our product, if somebody hasn't paid money after a couple of days, they get an email reminding them. But that email, they only get the email during the week. They don't get the email on weekends. And so I'm quickly able to build that with product team because I have some level of experience with writing those type of queries. So I would say that's the difference, but also people just use them interchangeably. So it doesn't really matter. So there's a question: what's the best approach to launch a new company that supports payment for businesses using crypto? So my answer is that I don't know what the best approach is, because today crypto is clunky. Our crypto is a mess. I can't sell Ethereum to anybody because the gas fees are too high. And so I think the opportunity in crypto, I think, like you're building for, is the user experience. So maybe build it in a way that people don't know that they're using crypto. I don't know. I know send cash, people interact with crypto on send cash, but they don't really see the crypto aspect of it. And so all that wahala from sending things from wallet to wallet is abstracted, right? I talked about how building a better user interface and user experience can enable growth. So maybe think about how you can build a better user interface and user experience. Also, do businesses want to accept crypto, or do they want to accept cash? I feel like there's tons of products that let you accept crypto now, but it's like, yeah, what do I want as a business owner? Nobody's asking me. Everybody's just assuming what I want. Okay, so there's another question here. For a food delivery app, do you think the customers will prefer discounts on the price of food or discounts on delivery? I don't know. I don't order food, so I don't know. But it depends on the price of food. I think sometimes I want to order something, and the thing I want to order is 1.5, and the delivery is 1.5, and it's like, why am I paying for the food twice? So maybe ask your customers, talk to your customers or your prospective customers, and try to ask them what they think, what they want to pay for. Also, it might be contextual depending on the price of the what do you call it now? On the price of the meal. So maybe if the price of the meal and the delivery price are the exact same thing, people would rather prefer a discount on the delivery fee. I don't know. Talk to them and ask them and run some experiments, right, to see how that works. Okay, so what ideas would you give a bike hailing startup trying to use growth hacking methods to expand its market share and reach new market segments? For new market segments, I think it's always clear, because the reason people, so do you mean bike hailing as per delivery logistics, or like I'm trying to get from point A to point B as a normal person? I feel like traffic is the reason why Okadas are popular. So I used to live in Ghana, right? And there didn't used to be Okadas anywhere, right? Fast forward 2017, there's much more traffic in the city. There are Okada people everywhere. So I would say go to where there's traffic. Where there's no traffic, people don't really care about getting to places fast, because they will get there anyways. Okay, it's delivery logistics. Man. So you have to think very deeply. Who are the people that need logistics services that nobody is reaching today, right? Or are you building a differentiated logistics kind of thing? So are you delivering food alone? Are you delivering parcels like office documents? Are you delivering parcels for lawyers alone and maybe not other people? So like think about like those niches. I think that will help, as opposed to we deliver to everybody and then you can grow from those niches. Yeah, sure. So someone's talking about how Bundle used the raffle reward system. Oh yeah, so that one was built after I left. But yes, typically, I can share how it works, and then I think how I think it works rather. So basically, in those systems, you get people, maybe 20, 30 people, 50 people to do a particular thing, and then you have software that randomly selects the winner. And like it's very simple to write, like it's products, but it's very simple to write scripts that can do that. So you basically file a list of maybe usernames or phone numbers into a system, and the system brings out 10 people. That's all. You're not overthinking it. You're not overthinking the randomness of it. But note that there are queries that are selecting, of all the thousands of users, there's a query that's selecting who has done what. So know that they've done things like, if you buy 10 BUSD this week, you share XYZ rewards in the future, right? So think about it. There's a system that is just pulling out, oh, these are the people that have bought, these 20 people have bought BUSD this week, and we are going to split 200 BUSD among them randomly, right? There's software that does that. It's not something that, if you work with a developer, they would easily help you build that type of system. It's not as complex as most people think. event tech ticketing startup trying to increase its market share. You go to all the event planners in Lagos. There's no, there's nothing else. So how can you, I mean, you already support event planners in some way, but how can you get them to know more about you? So do they have associations? Do they have influencers? Do they have people in the industry that they look up to that they can say, oh, these are the people that I like to learn from. So how can you leverage on top of those people? I know there's certain wedding planners that when people hear their names, they go crazy. But like wedding planners might not be your audience, but what are people that do corporate events? I would assume that corporate events for the end of the year will be very hot around now. So who are you talking to? Are you talking to the people that are at agencies or that are managing PR for companies and banks who will typically be responsible for setting up these events? Are you talking to people who produce concerts, maybe Palm Wine Festival, or I don't know, Cavemen or something? All those people are people. So you have to quickly build your list. You have to quickly build your list of who is in charge of what and building what, and then try and reach those people as much as possible. The sad thing about this space is that you cannot just run ads, right? You have to be very deliberate and very focused to who you want to reach. So it's a bit of product marketing in terms of content, but it's also very B2B. You have to call people up, maybe go for meetings or set up meetings, and think about how to grow that. It's not a very, to be honest, not a very, what's the word now? Not a very exciting space to be in because there are already a lot of very established players. And so define who your audience is, go and reach them, make sure that you're the person that they are using your product with, maybe offer them some discounts as opposed to the other person, or offer them something that you've built in your product. So maybe they can now collect money for their concerts directly in the app, and they don't have to collect money at the gates or collect cash, something like that, Sha. I think that would really work. But it's a lot of, you're in a business to business space. So it's a lot of, hard work, writing lists, calling people over and over, sending multiple emails, type of thing. That's something you can just automate and scale out of the box. So
all right.
Are there any other questions?
I think we're done with the questions. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you so much, Olabinjo, for giving an answer to many of those questions. However, I think I see Umar.
There's a question in the chat.
Yeah, he just dropped a question in the chat.
I think that's great. That's what tons of startups do because they don't have money. So if you don't have money, I need to do something. You need to build a product. Partner with somebody that has the license. That's another good way to grow. Also, if you're entering a country and you don't have the appropriate licenses, the best way is to partner and do like revenue sharing with somebody who has a license there and is probably operating in the similar space that you want. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and that's what we advise startups in our portfolios to do. So I think that's a good thing.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, there's more.
There's more questions?
Yeah, so I think Umar followed up with, can we partner with a fintech safe Flutterwave? I think so.
I mean, so I don't know what you're trying to do, and I'm not sure what you're trying to do. So if the Flutterwave API out of the box can do what you have to do, then I wouldn't call it a partnership as opposed to you're using their platform to solve your users' problems. So it really depends, right, on what you're trying to do. So I can't say, and I honestly don't know because I don't have enough context into what you're building.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Olabinjo, really appreciate it. So yes, thank you to everyone who asked questions. I mean, I saw the rush of questions coming there and I was like, we could keep on going. And I hope you all got your answers. And if you did get your answers and you were satisfied, please do thank. I see a few more questions are coming in, and we probably will never see the end of this question.
Yes, so this person should email me.
Okay.
I'm posting my email in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, please email me. Thank you. Email me today or don't forget. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so please let's thank Olabinjo for the time he has shared with us and the responses, the knowledge shared, and all of that. Please do let's thank him with the reactions and just drop a thank you in the chat box. Yeah, say clap there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much if you're wrong. Okay, yes. Yes, 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 yes. All right. I see the thank you tripping in the chats. Thank you so much, Olabinjo. Really appreciate it. Awesome session, and we are so happy to hear from you. So now, quickly, I would like to tell us, as we're rounding up the session, I would like to quickly tell us quickly about Trepod's upcoming products marketing bootcamp now. It's we have a product marketing bootcamp coming up from November 27th to December 13th or 12th now, I'm not completely sure, but yes, we have a product marketing bootcamp coming up. We have, and it's going to cover so much more than what was covered here today, from retention to acquisition. You talk about we're going to be talking about creating user personas and a few more other things, data-driven marketing, and so much more. The brochure is currently available. You can easily access the brochure on our website at the moment. Yes, so you can check it out I just sent the link to it on the website. But however, we're going to be doing a giveaway to a few participants who has joined this masterclass today by participating on a quiz on Slido. So from Olabinjo's sessions, I've drawn a few questions, and I think